You can just put the numbers in a spreadsheet and they'll tell you what it is. But since it's not intuitive, there's almost like a religious aspect that you need to believe how powerful it can be over time.
2 of the chapters in your book, Same as Ever, speak to the importance of discomfort. One of the chapters is called When the Magic Happens. And you say in that chapter, stress, pain, discomfort, shock, and disgust, for all its tragic downsides, it's also when the magic happens. And then the other chapter where you kind of speak to this is it's supposed to be hard. Most things worth pursuing charge their fee in the form of stress, uncertainty, dealing with quirky people, bureaucracy, other people's conflicting incentives, hassle, nonsense, long hours, and constant doubt. That's the overhead cost of getting ahead.
What's interesting is I never tied those 2 chapters together, but you're right. They're almost the exact same idea. That for the whole economy, for the whole world, when the biggest improvements in society takes place is when there's some sort of disaster. Like for all of its obvious downside and death and destruction, nothing has been more technologically progressive for the world than World War II. The number of inventions that came out of World War II, from atomic energy to jets, and like go on down the list, penicillin, all of these lists for things that you and I are taking advantage of today happened not in spite of, but because of World War II. Because there was this period where everyone in the world came together and they're like, holy shit, we got a big problem to figure out. Let's put our heads together and figure this out right now.
But that's also on a personal level.
On a personal level, it happens as well too. Like there's a book written many years ago called The Upside of Down. I thought that was just a brilliant title, like the upside of being down. And it happens a lot that when you have, maybe it's a job layoff or a breakup or a medical emergency, whatever it can be, that it changes you for the good. And it's always impossible to see that silver lining in the moment. You don't ever imagine there's going to be a silver lining in that moment. But when you look back in hindsight, it will be. I saw this recent example of this that really knocked me on my ass. It was Stephen Colbert, who, I might be getting these details wrong, but I think when he was a young child, his father and brother died tragically. And he said at one point that, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he said something along the lines of like, he is grateful for that. And he was asked, like, what do you mean you're grateful for that? And he said, look, of course, I wish it never happened, but it allowed him to understand the emotions of other people and get closer to other people who had also experienced something like that. And so even as in like the deepest, darkest moment of his life, that he says of course he wishes it didn't happen, it taught him something about humanity that he's grateful for today. That's an extreme example. But I think for a lot of people, being laid off from a job in the moment is going to be the hardest thing they've ever dealt with. And in hindsight, it's going to be one of the best things that ever happened to their career. A breakup might be the hardest thing you've ever been through. And in hindsight, it might be the best thing that's ever happened to you.